With the release of Silksong, a lot of players have been revisiting Hollow Knight, with some brand new fans discovering these games for the first time. I've seen discussions on the intricacies of the gameplay and combat, and that's amazing, but I feel the story has gone underappreciated. Hollow Knight has one of the most beautiful, heart-wrenching narratives in all of gaming. However, it sadly doesn't get the credit it deserves because of just how subtle it is in its presentation. Marissa, in many ways, is the core of this story. She's like this beacon that quietly inspires faith and positivity. I'm here to shine a light on an often overlooked aspect of this game and how it changed my worldview in a profound way. My name is Lucky7 and I invite you to join me on this journey. The game immediately sets the tone. This is a ruined kingdom, a fallen world. A world where the concept of hope itself is lost, and yet there's something so irresistible about it. The Elder Bug describes Hollow Nest as this place that long fell to ruin, yet still draws people in. It promises all things and is a place where you can seek your dreams, and he paints this picture of a world that has this dark allure. It appeals to the things that we desire most. There's something people seek that's missing from their lives that they think resides in these caves. If you've ever played this game, you know exactly what he's talking about. The world feels broken, yet beautiful in its brokenness. It's like this endless maze that's confusing, but you almost want to get lost in it. He then goes on to say that creatures turn mad and travelers are robbed of their memories, before wondering if dreams themselves are even worth having. We see this quite literally with the plague of Hollow Nest. It's like this disease that's spreading through the land and consuming the minds of its citizens. Basically, it chips away at their cognitive abilities until only their base thoughts and rituals remain. The miners who've been driven mad by this plague work diligently for no one in particular, and they attack anyone who threatens their sense of normalcy. It's as though it's the only thing keeping them sane, if you can even call them sane in the first place. Soldiers roam the streets looking for people to fight. These once great mages, scholars, and knights are reduced to like these automatons that kill anything in their path. This world, it used to be great, but it's long since expired. The reason this story feels so real and raw is that Hollow Knight never offers a comforting lie. It never promises that things will get better, or that suffering is temporary, or that meaning is guaranteed. It simply presents a world that continues to function long after its purpose has been forgotten. Obviously, in real life, we experience neither the danger nor the violence of a game like this, but that sense of movement without direction is so damn relatable because it permeates the real world. Routines that are carried out long after the reason for them is like forgotten or obtuse. We may not live in constant physical danger, but we recognize that feeling immediately. So back to Hollow Knight. What's the solution here? Do we just keep slaughtering the old citizens until there's nothing left? Do we establish a new kingdom? And what happens when that new kingdom inevitably falls too? How do we find transcendent hope in a world that's destined to fail? The answer to that is a lot simpler and a lot more humble than most of us would like to admit.
What faces everybody is a mixed picture. I call it beauty and bombs. In other words, we look at the world, we see some beautiful things and we see some horrible things, especially these days. And any worldview has got to take that into account. That is a fact. And we can argue as long as we like about the theoretical side, if God is good and all-powerful, why this and why that, why the other? And we never come to a satisfactory answer.
That is a quote by mathematician and philosopher John Lennox, said during a religious debate with Alex O'Connor. They were attempting to understand and contextualize the problem of evil. However, I believe that the true answer to this problem lies elsewhere. And I came face to face with it in the City of Tears. Yes, the answer to this complex philosophical debate spanning literal millennia resides in an indie action game made by 3 people. I am 100% serious, hear me out. Okay, so the beauty of Marissa is that she asks you not to confront the problem of evil, or even to erase it. This problem is not something so simple that you can figure it out in a philosophical debate, clashing idea against idea. And I say this as someone with utmost respect for both Lennox and O'Connor. Instead, she simply accepts it. She lets herself feel what she feels and she keeps singing anyway. She isn't deluding herself into thinking that she's happy to be alone, because it's that very sadness that gets her to appreciate the knight when he pays attention. Her perpetual loneliness further accentuates the moment she spends with those who care, and that falling city gives way to a beautiful song mourning a once great civilization. Marissa asks you not to fix the world, but to accept it in its brokenness and love it anyway. She's not bitter at its current state, nor does she complain about the plague, or that she's abandoned because no one else can resist it. Instead, she builds and maintains her own resilience through singing. Because she has love and purpose, she doesn't need hollow fantasies like the radiance to fill the hole in her heart, because she'd rather live in reality. And that's what we see her do throughout the game. From the moment you enter the city, you hear her singing, just illuminating these halls. Marissa is in many ways a rejection of the toxic positivity we see in this world. Sometimes things don't work out and you get the bad ending. But is there no hope or happiness at all in a bad ending? That honesty is what gives way to real, genuine hope. Hope that one traveler may listen to her sing and feel just a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more at ease, and appreciate what she's doing. Isn't that a valid hope that she's holding on to? I think a lot of us, myself included, want to achieve big things, big goals, whether it's recognizing our dreams, finding a spouse, becoming attractive, raising awareness about a political issue. I'm not going to tell you these things are stupid, I'm not going to tell you money doesn't matter or whatever. These goals are all valid, and they can be quite good when pursued with discernment. However, we often forget about the other side of the coin. Do our efforts have to make a big impact in order to be meaningful? If your brother or sister is having a bad day, helping them won't change the world, but it may change theirs. Comforting a friend after a breakup won't provide you any financial ROI, but does it matter? Does the lack of a reward, the lack of a big systemic change, sometimes prevent us from doing the things we know we should? And maybe that's all we need to do sometimes. I'm in no position to preach, by the way. This video is honestly about me debating with myself. In an era of performance and signals, I find myself faking my personality, trying to act in ways that make people develop a positive impression of me, and optimizing my behavior for my personal benefit. But playing Hollow Knight made me realize something deeper, something I was unable to put into words until now. That maybe the value of an effort isn't proportional to its social utility or financial utility. Spending times with our loved ones, praying, donating small amounts, giving even kind compliments, contrary to what society tells us, we don't need to take on this big burden of transforming the whole world, because easing the pain of one or two people is enough. And isn't that what Hollow Knight is really about? We help Quirrell find the Lake of On, and we sit with him in his final moments. He's lost his teacher, he's lost many of his memories, but he's finally found this place where the rain originates in the City of Tears. We don't, or rather can't, give him this happy future, but we can accompany him in his final moments, witnessing and accepting his life. The Mantis Lords, they use combat and discipline as a means of fighting the plague, maintaining their sanity. This makes them aggressive, but they need this in order to function. We fight the Mantis Lords not to kill them or to change their ways, but to cultivate respect through martial arts. Nothing significant changes, and from the outside looking in, many of the Knight's interactions with the world seem kind of superfluous, but that's what makes it brilliant, because these small acts of kindness, they do leave an impact on people. Even if it doesn't transform Hollow Nest. Sure, the game's good ending allows us to defeat the Radiance and end the plague, but to pretend the kingdom won't fall again fundamentally ignores human nature, or I guess bug nature. Hollow Knight was never about fixing the world, it was about finding the joy in small things. And that's the true message of Hollow Knight. That's why you shouldn't sleep on this game. Go buy it, go enjoy Peak Fiction. My name is Lucky7 and I hope you have a blessed day.